Hey guys, it's Tyler from Nelly Security. In this video, we're going to review the NSC4A425 PTZ-IR. This camera is a 4 megapixel PTZ security camera with a 4.8 to 120mm zoom lens. That's a 25 times optical zoom with an additional 16 times digital zoom and endless 360-degree pan. This camera has up to 160 feet of infrared range, 3D intelligent positioning functions, a slot for a micro SD card up to 256 gigabytes, and much more. With its IP66 weatherproof protection, this camera can withstand just about any weather condition. This is a powerful PTZ camera, packed with incredible features, yet built into the sleek and compact design of a mini speed dome. And when you open up your box, first thing you'll see is your drill template, your manual, and your software CD. This also comes with a PoE injector, so you can either power this camera through PoE or through your standard 12-volt DC power supply, which is sold separately. Here's your grommet for weatherproofing your connections, and we got some mounting hardware in there as well. And here's the camera. Now, as you can see, you got two cables here. This first cable contains your 12-volt DC connection and your Ethernet connection for supplying power to your camera, as well as connecting it to your network. You also got your audio cable here, just in case you want to connect an external mic. And you've also got your grounding wire here. The other cable here is for an alarm. If you'd like to connect your camera to an external alarm, you have your alarm in and your alarm out cables here for that purpose. Now before we go install this camera, I want to install this micro SD card. This way I can save images and video directly to the camera without having to go through an NVR. However, if you do plan to add this camera to your NVR, you can still use a micro SD card as a backup, just in case something goes wrong. Now the slot for the SD card is actually underneath the dome here. Once all those screws are loose, this dome just pops right off. Here's the cover right here for the SD card. Insert the SD card until we hear a click. And that's it, we're good to go. This camera is ready to install. Alright, this camera is super easy to install, especially compared to other PTZ models. It comes with your mounting template that shows you where to drill your holes. And then this metal plate comes off the bottom of the camera. You screw that into place and then the camera just clicks in. Now I'm going to be mounting this on our ceiling here, this overhang overlooking our back parking lot. If you don't have any space to install this in a ceiling, we also offer this wall mount, which you can purchase at nellysecurity.com. Alright, now that we have this camera mounted out here, I wanted to take you out here to the middle of the parking lot so you can see the size and the shape of this PTZ. You can tell just how small and compact it is, especially compared to the other PTZ we have installed up there. Now from where I'm standing, I have no idea what direction the lens on that camera is pointing. In order to see where that lens is pointing, I'd have to be right up close to the camera. On the other PTZ, however, from here, really from anywhere in the parking lot, I'd be able to look at that PTZ and tell that the lens was pointing directly at me. But I know what you're probably thinking. If this PTZ really is so much smaller and more compact, and so much easier to install than other PTZs, can it really perform as well? Well, I could answer that question, but I'm just going to let you see for yourself. Alright, you're now viewing the beautiful, clear, crisp 4 megapixel footage directly from this camera. I can control the PTZ functions from my phone, so I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of this awesome 25 times zoom and bring you in a little closer. Now this camera may look small, but it's powerful. It can do everything you'd expect a PTZ to do, but it does it really, really well. So I'm going to show you a few more video clips from this camera, and then I'm going to jump on the computer and take you behind the scenes to show you some of the settings and events that we can set up from the camera's interface. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into this interface now. As you can see, this interface is super simple, and this camera is fast and responsive. Here in a little bit, I'm going to add this camera to one of our NVRs so that I can keep this up on a big screen TV and keep an eye on it throughout the day. But I want it to move around. I don't want it to just sit there idly. So there are a couple of things that I can do to fix that, and I'm going to show you both. The first way is to set up some patrols and some patterns, and the second way is to activate the smart tracking and incorporate that into some events. So for this first scenario, I'm going to set the camera up to move automatically by itself based on time. So let's say I want this camera to spend most of its time here, looking out at the center of our parking lot. But maybe every once in a while I want the camera to pan over here and check out that entrance to our parking lot. Then pan over here and check out the other entrance to our parking lot. Instead of manually moving the camera around every few seconds, I can set up a patrol. But to do that, I need some presets. Right here in the center of our parking lot, I'm going to lock this in at preset 1. Now let's move the camera over to focus on the north entrance of our parking lot. I'm going to set this as preset 2. And now the south entrance I'll save as preset 3. Now let's say in my scenario I want the camera to focus on preset 1 for 3 seconds. Then I want it to move quickly to preset 2 and stay there for 3 seconds. And then slowly pan across the parking lot to preset 3 for 3 seconds. And then snap back to preset 1. To do that, I'm going to open up the patrol menu here. Click Set, and I'm going to add my 3 presets. For each preset, I'm going to change the time to 3 seconds. Now I'm going to change the speed at which the camera will move to that preset. This can be a number between 1 being the slowest and 40 being the fastest. So remember, I want it to snap to preset 2, move slowly to preset 3, and then snap back to 1. So I'm going to keep it at 30 for presets 1 and 2, but I'm going to change preset 3 to a value of 5. Let's check this out. See how it snaps to the north entrance there? And now it's going to pan slowly across the parking lot until it gets to the south entrance. And then right back to the center. But did you notice it was kind of hard to see while the camera was moving between presets 2 and presets 3? Yeah, it's not perfectly smooth. That's because we're shooting in 4 megapixels right now. The highest frame rate we can get at 4 megapixel is 30 frames per second, which is pretty good. But this camera can get even higher frames per second, all the way up to 60. To do that, we're going to go into the Configuration tab, click Video Audio. We're going to change the resolution from this 4 megapixel to 1080p. At this 2 megapixel resolution, notice that we can bump the frames per second all the way up to 60. Let's save this and go check it out and see how much smoother this camera moves at 60 frames per second. Man, look at that. That's as smooth as butter. Now sure, you can tell a difference in the resolution, but you can still clearly see everything that's going on here at this 2 megapixel resolution. But it's totally up to you and your preferences and your situation. If you're alright with 30 frames per second, you can really take advantage of the 4 megapixel video that this camera offers. However, if the 4 megapixel resolution isn't that important to you, the 60 frames per second on this camera truly is beautiful. Now the second automation I want to show you involves smart tracking and smart events. Instead of constantly having the camera moving around from position to position, maybe you want the camera to lock in place in one position and then only move when something's happening on the screen. Alright, so let's say I want the camera to stay here most of the time, but if somebody walks toward our building, I want the camera to follow them just so I can see what they're up to. To do this, I'm going to set up a line crossing. First, I'm going to go back into Configuration, to PTZ, click on Smart Tracking, make sure this Enable Smart Tracking is checked, and head into Event, then Smart Event, and Line Crossing Detection. From here we can click Draw Area and draw our line on the screen. So if someone crosses this line here, they're clearly headed right towards our building. And I want our camera lens to focus on them. So to do that, I'll go ahead and open up the linkage method. Make sure smart tracking is turned on. I'm also going to have it trigger a recording. You can change the arming schedule for this line crossing here. So I could change this to only have the line crossing triggered between, say, around 6:30 to maybe 6:30 in the morning. This way I wouldn't get a whole bunch of recordings of Nelly's employees walking up to the door. However, for demonstration purposes, I will leave this armed all the time, so I can get some good examples to show you. Like these videos of myself and my unsuspecting coworkers showing up to work. I only showed you a little bit of what you can do with this camera. There are a ton of settings and configurations and smart events that you can play around with to really make this camera work for you. Now I'm going to go take that camera down and install it inside so we can check out the infrared abilities of this camera. This thing has an IR range of up to 50 meters, which is a little over 160 feet. And one of the cool things about this PTZ is that it has hidden IR sensors here in the sides of the lens, here and here. Again, compared to the PTZ we saw earlier that we have installed outside, this camera is just so much less noticeable and really is optimal if you're looking for something that can be a little more hidden. So let me turn out the lights and show you guys the IR sensors here. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped you determine if this is the right security camera for you. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to contact us. Click the links in the description below to learn more about this camera and to purchase your own. We'll catch you in the next video.